Hey, Chef Rich here, and from all of us here at One Plate Kitchen, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Year's. So I got a bunch of family coming in today, and obviously they want me to cook. So we're going to use some of the leftovers from yesterday's dinner and make a frittata. Fast, easy, and I'm telling you, anyone can do it. So we got some spinach, we have some turkey, onion, some amazing herb salt, chili powder, Parmesan cheese, cheddar cheese, potatoes, and some eggs. First thing that needs to go in is the onion, so let's cut that up. What we have to do is just cut the bottom off, cut the top off, and then we'll just cut it right in half. Now with this, the way we want to cut this, I want to peel all the skin off first, because remember, you don't need this. The way I want to do this is I just want to slice it. Sometimes we'll cut it this way and we'll dice it either way. This way, just for this type of application, I just want to make it really easy and just slice it. And you see 1, 2, 3, it's fast. We'll get this one done. So I just want to hold it just like this, and you just want to make slices. I like slices in this versus like a diced onion because I think the texture changes and it makes it a little bit more fun, and it's super fast. So we'll just take it, slice down, and then remember, once you get where it's a little awkward and you feel like you might cut yourself, all you're going to do is flip the onion down and then start doing the same thing again. Just make your slices. Done. So the first thing we have to do always, remember, make sure we have a hot pan. So I'm going to put this on. I'm going to get it nice and hot. I can feel I've already had mine going for a little bit, so it's pretty hot. Then I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to it. Next, let's get some onions in there. So now we got a couple minutes for these onions to cook, so I'm going to start cracking some eggs. I got these leftover potatoes. We're just going to chop them up. Going to add our potatoes in. So now we're going to add a little bit of chili powder. And the reason we're adding this, besides the nutritional value, It really changes the flavor. I don't want people to think that we're having leftovers. I want them to think that I made a whole new entire meal for them. Which, I mean, I did, but we're just gonna change it up a little bit. Plus it gives it a little bit of spice, heat, which tastes really good. So we're just gonna mix this up nice. Smells amazing. If you think it's going to be spicy, I promise you, it won't be spicy at all. It's going to give it a little bit of heat. Remember, it'll balance out because you're going to have sweetness of the onions. You're going to have the potatoes, which are really savory. And then we have all that egg in there too. So it's going to drop down to heat. But I promise you, it's going to be good. Now we'll add the spinach. And it looks like a lot of spinach, but I promise you, it definitely wilts down. Just make sure all the spinach is incorporated well. Now, it's time for those eggs. Now we're just gonna pour in our eggs. So now we got two types of cheese. We have a little bit of cheddar cheese that we'll just sprinkle around. And don't worry about it. What we're going to do is we're just going to mix this up. This is more just for the body of it, to give it a little bit of creamy texture. So we'll just stir this in, and you can see the egg is starting to cook already. So we want to just kind of mix this in. Get it all down in the eggs. And the last thing we're going to do is a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So at this point, now we go into a preheated 450 degree oven. So as always, we gotta set the timer. We don't want it to be underdone, but we don't want it to be overdone and forget about it. 20 minutes, perfect. It smells delicious. And I've been told I use the word amazing too many times, but how else can you describe something that looks like this? And you gotta be real careful because this thing is super hot. But look at that. Tell me that doesn't scream deliciousness. Fresh out the oven, steaming hot, and ready to serve. Scoop it right out. Oh. It's good. Family's here. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. God bless, and we'll see you next year. Enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Chef Rich, and in my book, I shed light on the marketing and advertising nonsense about food. My book doesn't promote diets, it promotes education into the food that we eat. We also discuss attitudes, goal settings, herbs, spices, and so much more. The main focus of the book is smart shopping to save you money, educational culinary techniques to get you in and out of the kitchen as quick as possible, and leading the movement of resourcing food as our greatest medicine. Visit our website to learn more. Thank you, and God bless. I want to explain to you what kind of cooking show we aren't. We aren't a cooking show that uses an absurd amount of fat or salt. Our mission is to change the health of this country and your children. My name is Chef Rich, and this is One Plate. Hey everybody, Chef Rich here from One Plate Kitchen, where we cut through all the nonsense and educate you that food is our greatest medicine. Our mission is simple. It's to save you money at the grocery store, save you time in the kitchen, all while getting you healthy. Nutritious, delicious food doesn't have to be complicated. It can be easy and fast. I promise. So what are we making today? Today we're going to make an amazing seafood pasta. So what's in it? We have some beautiful French green beans. We have a red onion, and I like to use a red onion over a white onion sometimes, only because it's less tart, less harsh. We have some beautiful fresh green parsley. We have some fresh garlic, a lemon that we're going to use both. We're going to use the outside rind, and we're also going to use some of the juice. We have a beautiful juicy tomato that we use, and then we have a mix over here that has calamari in it, that has some shrimp in it, mussels, and clams. I promise you, this is going to be super delicious and super easy. So let's get cooking. So what's our first step? Our first step is going to get the pasta going. Now, in order to get the pasta cooking, I want to make sure I have enough water in there. Now, there's a ratio of water to pasta. So normally it's going to be 1 gallon of water to 1 pound of pasta. That's your lowest amount of ratio you want to stick with. Now, your water should also be salted. All right, how salty? When I used to teach, I used to tell students it should be as salty as the ocean. It doesn't have to be that salty, but you want to have some salt in the water because you want to be able to taste it. If it tastes a little salty, that's good. That's what we want. That means your pasta will absorb that salt and that flavor, and it won't take down your sauce. Because if it doesn't, if you don't put any salt in there, what's going to happen is your sauce won't taste as good. So the first thing we'll do is add our pasta. Now we're using a whole grain pasta. All right, so I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. And I want to make sure as we mix it that it just doesn't clump together as it cooks. Now again, the ratio of water to pasta is a good ratio, so it shouldn't clump, but we just want to make sure. So now, how long does that add? 13 minutes. How do you make perfect pasta? You set the timer. So we're going to set it for 13 minutes. Let the owl tell us when it's ready to go. So now that that's going, I'm going to turn my pan up. Because remember, if you've watched other videos, well, you know that a hot pan is crucial. We want to make sure we have a hot pan. So while that's heating up, I'm going to get my onion ready. So we have our onion. We're just going to cut our onion in half. Now we're using a red onion over a white onion, only because it's a little bit easier. It's not as tart or as astringent to work with. So we have that. Cut the other one. Again, cut it in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. We want kind of big chunks in this anyway. So we'll just turn that, let that go, and in the pan that goes. Now, remember how much oil do we need in here? We don't need a lot. All right, so we're gonna let that go in there. I'm just gonna kind of mix this around. And then again, onions go right in. Oh, and I don't know if you can hear that, but that sounds amazing. So we'll let that go. You wanna listen to your food. It's telling you that it's at a good temperature right now. So we're gonna let this go. I'm gonna give it a little stir. Just let it do its thing. Break them up a little bit. So we're gonna let that go. At this point, I'm just gonna season this a little bit with a little bit of kosher salt and then a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. So we're gonna let that go. No, that's good. Now while that's working, I'm gonna work on my garlic. Now we have some garlic here that's still in the shell. Now this is the greatest way to not only get garlic out of the shell, but kind of work out your frustrations. So all you're gonna do is take the garlic, you're gonna put your knife on top of it. Then using your hand, you wanna make sure fingers are out of the way. What you're gonna do is just give it a little pop. You'll see that the garlic will just jump right out of the shell. So we're gonna do the same thing to the other two pieces. I'm just gonna give it a little pop, and they pretty much just jump right out of the shell for you. Again, don't go wasting money on all this pre-ground stuff, you know, that's in oil or in water. We don't want to waste money on that, and it doesn't taste good either. Our onions are starting to get a little nice color on there, which is nice. That's what we want. Now, you want to take your garlic. You're going to put it down. Same technique. Put your blade on top. Put your hand down. And this, you're going to give it a little pop. A little bit harder. Just like that. All right, we'll do it to all three pieces. Again, blade down on top. Fingers out of the way. Just give it a smash. Blade down on top, fingers out of the way, just give it a smash. Now from here, what we want to do, this is the spine of the knife. I want you to put the spine of the knife down on the board. I want you to put your 2 fingers on the side. And all you're going to do is take a little bit of it, crush it, and then drag it down. Push it back together a little bit more, and then drag it down like that. So before you know it, you're making a garlic paste. All right, so we just crushed all that. Now, since you can see this, you see all this oil that's on that board? That's all flavor. That's all really good flavor. All right, so we want to keep that just like that. We don't want to go too much because then you'll crush all the oil out of it and then we won't have any flavor. Board will be happy and it'll taste delicious, but your food won't because you got rid of all the oil. Next thing that goes in, seafood. So again, our seafood mix has got some beautiful calamari in there. It has some shrimp, mussels, clams in there. It has some really good flavor in there, so we want to get this in. Now again, this is a very quick cooking dish. It doesn't take a long time, which is what we want. Remember, we want to get you in and out of the kitchen as quick as possible. And the cost on this, you're going to be surprised when I tell you the cost at the end. To make this dinner for you and your family, what it actually cost. So we got that mixed in there. We're going to give it a little stir. We want that to start doing its thing. And again, a little bit of salt and a little bit of freshly ground black pepper, and we just let it mix in. Now by the time this is all done, your pasta will be done, and then we're just going to put them together. So while that's going, I'm going to maintain a good heat on this. So I just turned it up to an 8. So now we're just going to sprinkle these green beans right on top. And the great thing is, these are frozen green beans. I didn't have to do anything to cut these up, to blanch these, or anything. I just open the bag and get them in there. Remember, we want to save you time in the kitchen. So we're just going to mix that around a little bit. Just stir that in now. Once we get that mixed in nice, our next ingredient is going to be our garlic. So we're just going to scrape all that garlic in there. And remember, that garlic has all that flavor, all that oil that's in there. We want to make sure we get all that in. Key point at this is when you add garlic, how do I know the garlic is ready to move on to the next step? And the answer is when you can smell it. So once I can smell that garlic aroma starting to come out, that's when I say, okay, it's time to move on to the next step. And I can smell it already. It's got a really strong aroma, which is nice. So we're just going to let that go. I'm going to turn up the heat even just a little bit more now. I want to explain to you what kind of cooking show we aren't. We aren't a cooking show that uses very expensive ingredients. We aren't a cooking show that uses an absurd amount of fat or salt and totally disregards the health issues that we all face today. We are professional chefs and skilled educators that are experts in not only food, but culinary techniques. My name is Chef Rich, and this is One Plate. We'll have success if we do this one plate at a time. God bless. So we have our garlic added in there. Now our last, or one of our last ingredients is going to be some beautiful tomatoes. So we're just going to get all that tomato and all that juice in there as well. Now I like to keep tomatoes whole, because what I can do now is I can just break them up to however big I want them to be. So if I don't want them to be too big, or if I want big chunks, that's totally up to you. You can set it up however you want. And we're just going to mix this in. Now again, you can see all that liquid that's collecting at the bottom. That's what we want, because what that's going to do is add flavor or a sauce to our whole pasta dish. I don't want to add any kind of jarred sauces to this or anything like that. I don't want to mess up these nice clean flavors. I just want to leave it just the way it is. So I want to have these natural sauces start to come out. So we're just going to mix that up. we have a couple minutes left on our pasta. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zest some lemon. Now what a lot of people do is they'll just take this cuttage and just squeeze in the juice. We don't want to do that because that rind has all the oil, and that oil has a ton of flavor. So we're just going to use our microplaner. Now the key to this is you only want to do it 3 times. So it's 1, 2, 3, and move on. I don't know if you can see the white part. That white part is bitter. We don't want the bitterness, we just want that beautiful yellow part. So it's 1, 2, 3, move on. 1, 2, 3, move on, and just keep on like that around the whole entire orange. After I just took all the rind off, I want to make sure that I get as much juice out of this as I possibly can. So you'll feel some lemons that are really hard when you feel them and really firm. You just want to put it down now, put your hand on top, almost like you're going to do CPR, and just kind of roll it. And you'll feel it start to kind of break up and crush inside, that you're breaking up all that juice in there. Now you can feel it. It's really soft in there, which is good. That means all that juice in there is ready to flow out. I'm going to put that aside for now. So now I'm going to add some fresh vitamin C, also known as parsley. So again, all we're going to do is take this and chop it up. How big, how small, it's totally up to you. Don't get caught up with all this nonsense sometimes that you see on all these other shows. Oh, timer is up. That means our pasta is ready, which is perfect because so are we. So now we have the pasta or our parsley ready. Our lemon is also ready to go in there in a minute. Our mix is completely done. Now we're just going to take our pasta off. So I'm going to shut our water off. I want to let it drain a little bit. And just add it. We're just going to add our pasta. Now, there's 2 things you could do. I can add it like this if I wanted to, just like we're doing, or I can strain the whole thing and just let it sit for a minute. Now, if you're going to let it sit, what will happen is the outside of the pasta will start to dry up, and that's good. That's what we want. But you have to be careful because if you let it dry up too much, it'll actually start to stick together. All right, I want to bring it to the closest I can to drying up, but then I want to start mixing it in with my sauce. And the reason being, because now our pasta is really, really thirsty, it's going to absorb anything that's around it. And I want it to absorb all that amazing flavor that's left in from our sauce. So at this point, I'm just going to take some parsley and throw it in there. And then we're just going to kind of mix this in. We just want to mix it all in, get it all incorporated well. And you can see the longer it sits in here, the more juice it will start to absorb. So we're just going to mix everything in. I want to make sure everything is the onions, the tomatoes, the green beans. I want to make sure it's all mixed in well. And then again, the last thing that's going to go in is going to be our lemon. So we're just going to cut our lemon, make sure we get no seeds in there. And you can see already, we just cut it and how much juice it is. And again, that's because we squeezed it. So again, we just want to kind of squeeze all that in. And remember, we started, we had a lot of liquid in there. And you can see what's happening already. It's absorbing, the pasta is absorbing all that liquid. And that's, we don't need to open up a can of jarred tomato sauce or anything crazy. We have the ingredients that'll give us our own natural liquid, which is good. That's what we want, our own natural sauce. So now, last thing to do is to plate up.
One Plate is a company led by professional chefs and educators, and we're experts in 2 areas, food and culinary techniques. And when we combine them, we have classes that are interactive, engaging, fun, and educational. We'll break down all the cooking techniques and ingredients into their basics, and we're going to cook meals that will empower and educate you to see that food really is our greatest medicine. We promise to save you money at the grocery store, save you time in the kitchen, and get you healthy. Visit our website to learn more. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, so all that's left to do now is just plate up. So now we're just gonna take some of our pasta and just bring it on over. No, I just don't want the pasta, I want some of this other good stuff too. So I wanna make sure we bring some of those tomatoes and green beans and mussels and clams and onions in there as well. And even some of that sauce you wanna get in there. So we added that. I'm going to add a little bit of parsley to it. Now what we're adding here is just a little bit of white balsamic vinegar. And the last little bit is just a little bit of the olive oil. And again, we want to use a good quality olive oil. All right, you don't want to use a vegetable oil or anything like that. I want you to use a good quality olive oil. So there you go. You know how much I spent on this? Under $15. And you can easily feed a family about 4 to 5. So I promise you, we're always going to save you time in the kitchen. We're always going to save you money at the grocery store. And I promise you, we're going to keep you healthy. See you next time.